Welcome and bienvenidos to hockey's favorite podcast. That's right, you are in the Pacific Revision. My name is Erick Oriana. Welcome. Take a load off. Welcome to day 17 of NHL Playoffs. 8 teams remaining, 8 teams eliminated. I have nothing else to do, so I'm hosting this thing. Someone with some urgency, some stakes coming up soon is the golden one himself. Miguel, say hello, Miguel.
What up, everybody? Welcome into the Pacific Revision. It's me, the golden one. Erick said it himself. Miguel, what up? Hello, everybody. How you doing? Thank you for coming in. Thank you for spending your time with us.
Yeah, thank
Erick,
you. What? Yeah, what's going on?
Where are we going?
I mean, I'm where I'm supposed to be, home. After being eliminated in round one. You're also home, but in a different capacity as you welcome the Edmonton Oilers. What's it like to be in round two? Because it's been 9 years, apparently, for the Kings, and I didn't realize that until people kept pointing it out to me. So if you're wondering at home, yes, I'm aware. It's been 9 years. I know when 2014 was. I understand. You can stop sending it to me. I hate you.
I feel your pain. Vegas had a similar drought.
Fucking shut up. I'm tired of you fucking expansion. My life was so much easier pre-expansion. It was great. It was great. Now you got these new teams coming in here.
To be fair, the only time an expansion team stopped you from getting to the second round was year one.
Yeah, but also this year at fucking Seattle, we had to play a goddamn 9-8 game, and I was pissed about that for like 3 weeks in the regular season.
True. Because I mean, last year, neither of the expansion teams were in the playoffs.
Simpler times. And the Kings almost did it. Went to 7 games. This year, both expansion teams in the playoffs. Kings only go to 6. Coincidence? Probably having something to do with playing McDavid. But Miguel, guess what? Your problem now. But before we go to round 2, Miguel, why don't we do a little quick recap of the series we missed? We did a couple episodes with little one-offs of recapping some of the series. So we had the Islanders advancing. Advancing. They wish. The Hurricanes advancing over the Islanders. The Oilers advancing over the Kings. We also had a new Canadian team finally make the second round. First time since 2004. The Toronto Maple Leafs. Miguel, what do you think of them advancing over? The 3-time defending Eastern Conference champion.
Never a doubt. I'm actually truly happy for all the Leafs fans. They deserve it. They've been through a lot of rough. They've been the butt of the joke when it comes to the playoffs for many years.
Not us. Is it because we don't care about Toronto? Probably. We're further enough away where they don't really affect my life as other markets.
I'm happy for them.
I am too. By the way, it was hilarious. Breaking the fourth wall of time. They lost game 1, round 2, against the Florida Panthers, which makes sense, as someone pointed out on Twitter. Game 7. That's game 7. After winning in 6. So of course they would lose game 1. But hey, that's why it was important, Miguel. They either win in 6 or they lose in 7. And they finally did it. So good for them.
I mean, I'm sure we're going to get to it, but when you're up 3-1 or when you're up in the series, Florida shows you the importance of closing out.
I mean, two different examples of two teams being up 3-1 and what could happen to you. 3-1 is safe, but it isn't, pure safety from a standpoint. You lose 5, you lose 6. All of a sudden, it's a 1 game, and one team's on a losing streak, one team's on a winning streak. So you never know what can happen. And do you want to talk about Boston, Florida?
Yeah, we can.
Because I'm going to apologize to the people of Sunrise, Florida, to the state of Florida. Because I called this a sweep. Called it a sweep for the Boston Bruins. Because Miguel, this couldn't happen twice in a row. Team becomes the best regular season team of all time, and they lose in the first round. Couldn't happen twice in a row.
It is crazy that that's happened twice. Not in the. I guess technically it's in a row because
in a row in the sense of you have a team breaking,
yes,
and then
I agree. Yeah. So it is nuts to witness it twice in our lifetime, Eric.
And in two different ways, too. Tampa in 2019 gets swept out of the first round by Columbus. And this time, the Boston Bruins blow a 3-1 series lead against the Panthers.
I can confidently say we will never see that again in our lifetime, because for anyone to have a better season than Boston, I don't see it. Let alone have a better season than Boston and then lose in the first round. I just don't see it. So I can confidently say this will never happen again.
Fast forward to the Vegas Golden Knights breaking the all-time wins
they
record.
go 82-0. And then get swept.
The only way you can do it worse is if you break Boston's record, go up 3-0, and then get reverse swept. But what an amazing letdown by the Boston Bruins. We shouldn't really be surprised. There was a bunch of upsets in the first round, as there usually is, because it's hockey and parity exists, and it's a bunch of teams being close. So I will say credit to the Florida Panthers. Like another team, goalied by Sergei Bobrovsky upset the team who had the best regular season of all time. That's also crazy. It happened again for him. I don't know, man. It'll be interesting what we have left, because also we have New Jersey, Miguel. New Jersey beat the Rangers in 7.
Oh, Devils.
Kind of a stunner considering how that series started in the first 2 games, and how just immediately the series shifted back at home for the Rangers. You're up 2-0. What could possibly go wrong?
This is what happens when you put an inexperienced goalie in net. Success. You know what's my favorite stat of that series, by the way, besides the scoring going away from the New York Rangers for that series? What?
The performance by Igor Shesterkin. He saved 8 goals above expected.
I know.
To put that in perspective, Miguel, the next best goalie was 4, and that was Jake Ottinger.
Did you see what Patrick Kane said?
I shouldn't have left Chicago.
No, he's already belittling New Jersey's win.
What could he possibly say?
He's like, I just wish I wasn't hurt, because I know if I wasn't hurt, we would have won that series.
Let me tell you, Patrick Kane, this isn't 2015, the last time the Blackhawks won a cup. Patrick Kane, you're old. I'm sorry, buddy.
By the way, I know no professional player or any sport player listens to this podcast, but when you lose, don't make excuses. Just be like, we lost. They were the better team. Don't be like, oh, if I wasn't hurt. I'm sure they have hurt players on their team right now.
Oh, everybody does. It's the fucking end of the playoffs. Like,
exactly. Like,
as soon as someone gets eliminated, you get a big old list of injuries and things like that. And
Patrick Kane, you begged and you cried to go to New York, and you got out in the first round.
Also, Patrick Kane, is Artemi Panarin hurt? Is Mika Zibanejad hurt? Is Adam Fox hurt? Is Philip Hedl? Former number 1 overall pick, Alexis Lafreniere. A big old goose egg across the board. No points, no assists, no penalty minutes. He just skated for 7 games around and did nothing.
It's a French Canadian for you, right?
So are they hurt? Like, the only person who showed up for the Rangers after those first 2 games was Igor Shesterkin.
Yeah.
And it's another reason that regular season almost means nothing. You can get it's a big ass sample size, and I know the playoffs are a smaller sample size, but it's just a different game. And give credit for New Jersey. Like, their season started off not great, and then it got hot, and they kind of became the team that we see now. Same thing with that series. They didn't start off the series that great. They looked outmatched by the depth of the New York Rangers, and then figured it out. Jack Hughes on another level. Nico Hischier, recently nominated for the Selke Best Defensive Forward. So Dougie Hamilton, like, they have a bunch of guys, and it's a young team where, Miguel, you said it yourself. If you want goaltending, sometimes you just find a young goalie or someone you've never heard of, or someone you would at least expect it. This time it was Akira Schmid, who helped out the New Jersey Devils advance to the second round. Insane. Miguel, one last one that we didn't get to talk about. Minnesota Wild, Dallas Stars. Dallas in 6. Do you feel bad for your old buddy Joe Pavelski?
I mean, why? He advanced.
I mean, concussion again. The
I know.
playoffs has it up for our boy Joe.
I'll say this, Joey boy. You get the same injury twice in the playoffs. Maybe it's maybe you gotta start looking at the man in the mirror. You know what I mean?
I don't
Maybe
know,
it's
man.
the way you skate. Maybe it's the way you stand. That a little touch makes you fall straight face first into the ground.
I wouldn't call that a little touch.
Well, I'm talking about the more of the Vegas one. But
Miguel, you gotta let that go. We're not talking about 2019, 2018, 2019, whatever year that was. Like, you gotta let it go.
it was the 2019-20 season.
It was a major.
Or
sorry.
was it? No, it was 2018-19. You're right.
I'm sorry, Miguel. It was a major. I'm sorry.
Not a major.
That's why we have reviews now, because of you. 'Cause you guys keep crying.
Exactly, because of Vegas's sacrifice, where they would have won the cup that year. I guarantee it. We have now fixed the game for the better. So you're welcome, hockey. Golden Knights did that.
Don't think so.
They changed hockey in 2 years of their existence. Crazy.
All right. How about we go back into Dallas and Minnesota? Huh? The actual competition on the ice this year, this season, not fucking 3 years ago, Miguel.
Talk about laying a goose egg when your season was on the line. You know what I mean?
Oh man.
The Wild were so much more focused on hitting and fighting than winning.
I mean,
Kaprizov clearly still hurt. That's unfortunate for Minnesota. He did not show up the series, and I'm sure it's not because of lack of trying. I think he was still hurt.
you also have Joel Erickson who apparently tried to play on a fractured leg.
I didn't even care about that one.
Not a good idea, Miguel.
No?
Not a good idea. So, Miguel. If a little sneak preview of round 2 for what I want. I would love to see Vegas play Dallas again in a conference final with people.
I would not.
Because, man, let me tell you, that top line for Dallas was Jason Robertson and Rupe Hintz. Woo! One of the most underrated top lines in hockey is that Dallas line. Because, Miguel, who watches Dallas hockey?
Nobody.
Exactly.
Nobody. Although they're not boring anymore. So I'm not going to go ahead and call them boring. Ever since they got Robertson and Rupe Hintz and what's his name?
Miro Heiskanen.
They've become a much more faster, much more exciting team. They can still play that boring hockey, but I wouldn't say that's their identity anymore.
Yeah, they still have guys. They still have guys who can play defense. Like Jamie Benn's still decent defensively.
That's become what's it called? Islander hockey. You know what I mean?
Yeah, now it's the Islanders. If you want a good time, don't watch their hockey, but luckily we don't have to. But I do respect the game that the Islanders play. Like, don't get me wrong, but I'm happy we have one less team that we have to worry about that. So let's go to round 2, Miguel. We got 8 teams left.
Before we go to round 2, real quick, because I didn't get to speak on the Oilers Kings.
We don't have to. I said everything. I'm good.
The only thing I will say, and you can correct me if I'm wrong.
I can always tell you're wrong.
I felt like at the end of the day, Korpisalo just...
You're already wrong.
The last 2 games, I feel like he left in some soft ones. I'm not saying it's his fault, but he was not playing up to where he was playing to end the season and start the series.
So what you're telling me is because he stole 1 or 2 games and he didn't steal the final.
Exactly what I'm telling you.
Let me tell you, Miguel, it's a team sport. I'm not going to place this all on Jonas Korpisalo. The team couldn't figure out the power play. It's plain and simple. Like there's nothing you can do about that. There are a couple. There's one goal in particular, and that's the overtime winner in game 4. That you should say he should have had that 100%. It went through him. Zach Hyman shot it from the side. I'm not gonna put anything on him. Like if my bar for a goalie is to like they didn't steal me that game, how dare they? That's on them. The team still scored 4 goals, and 5 goals. You know what I mean? In the last 3 games.
Yeah.
It's on them to figure it out. The defense needs to be better. The goal scoring needs to be better. The depth of the Oilers showed up. it is what it is. Like, the Oilers are a better team than they were last year. So are the Kings. And the Kings couldn't afford to be sloppy like they were.
That's the other thing. I feel like neither goalie was amazing in that series.
No. Like, Skinner
we'll talk about that.
Like, Skinner still gave up over 4 goals a game.
We'll talk about that in the second round.
So, but that's not the reason we lost. There's the fourth line getting.
Sorry for opening up.
We're back. We're back in now. The fourth line getting their teeth kicked in by the 11-7 setup hurt us a lot more. Our depth, all of a sudden, which was supposedly a strength, was a weakness. I
got a lot to say about the 11-7, but again, we'll talk about that in the second round.
What matchup do you want to talk about? Thanks. By the way, thanks for bringing this up. I've been trying to cope and be fine with it, and yet here we are.
Sorry. Let's talk about the two that already had their first game happen. You know what? Let's start. Let's do the East first and the West. We'll end with the Pacific.
All right. Which series in the East would you like to start with? You want Florida, Toronto?
Yeah, because we already witnessed game 1, so we already have. I'll say this: despite the results, my predictions do not change for the second series.
Oh, I got so many wrong. I would have to redo all of my predictions.
So for all those people out there, I am number 1 in our hockey groups of bracket challenge.
Congratulations.
And I am number 96 in the entire of the NHL brackets. That's kind of crazy because I'm sure there's thousands upon thousands of brackets, and I am 96 with 69 points.
I think I only got 2 series correct.
That is crazy.
I think I only got your guys' series, which I nailed perfectly in 5.
Yeah, and I did too.
And Carolina in 6, which I nailed. But everything else, awful. Went with my heart. By the way, my Stanley Cup final, New York and LA. The Rangers and the Kings. Because I thought, why not? It'd be cool.
My Stanley Cup finals is Golden Knights and Devils.
So congratulations. You're better than me, Miguel.
No, it's still alive. It is still alive.
So Toronto finally gets to see a second round game. Florida coming off the greatest upset in recent memory. How do you feel about these two teams going at it? Matthew Tkachuk versus Austin Matthews.
So this one of the two has me the most worried for my bracket because I'm gonna just say it now. I did have Toronto going on to the conference finals, they outplayed Florida yesterday. Absolutely. But here's the thing. Despite being on top and swarming and constantly in their zone, Florida looked like the more dangerous team every time they came for the goalie. It wasn't as much as Toronto because Toronto was swarming, but nothing felt dangerous. Nothing felt like amazing. Like, don't get me wrong, Bobrovsky had a great game and he had some amazing saves. But I wouldn't say he stole that, despite the dominance of Toronto as far as being in the offensive zone, as far as holding onto the puck much longer, because it always felt like Florida was skating backwards. But watching that game, I just felt like if I was a Florida fan, when every time Toronto was in our zone, I didn't feel the danger of, like, it didn't feel like, oh my God, a goal's coming. Like, if we don't get it out of the zone, a goal's coming. Like, it didn't feel that way. Like, I didn't feel like, and again, analytics may make me look like an idiot. I'm not an analytics guy. I'm a eyes guy. What I see with my eyes, you know what I mean?
I'm at the back. I'm gonna check right now for you, so don't worry.
I know because I see you typing away, so I know you're doing the research, and it's gonna probably make me sound like a fucking idiot. But I'm just going off of what I saw and how I felt the game. Like, I didn't feel like Toronto's chances were that dangerous, despite having much more, and despite Florida always skating backwards. Because every time Montour, Tkachuk, who else? Duclair, every time they were coming into Toronto zone,
Carter Verhaeghe.
It felt like it felt dangerous. It felt like, oh shit, here we go.
All right, do you want to hear? According to Money Puck, the old deserve a win-o-meter, the Leafs should have won this game 63% of the time if you do 1,000 game simulations. Expected goals, Florida 2.78 and Toronto 5.8. So Toronto had a lot more quality chances. I think you can say that. I think looking at the shot map, definitely a lot more net front presence by the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think you saw it in the second goal that tied the game for them was Matthew Nyes. It's off a Florida goal. 11 seconds afterwards, transition into the offensive zone by Toronto. Good pass by Austin Matthews to Nyes, and it's just him creating offense.
What a beautiful goal, by the way.
It was a phenomenal goal. What a goal.
Yeah. Probably the best goal of that night.
Yeah, so I think where you're coming from at that point is just talking about just the type of game I think each team had in front of their goalie. The thing that I did not like from Samsonov for Toronto, he looks like he was swimming. He looked like he was having a hard time just following the puck.
Yeah, no rebound control either.
No. And with Bobrovsky, like, I don't like his positioning either, but he seemed a lot more control of just where he was in comparison to where the puck was being played.
You know what's so funny about Bobrovsky?
Is that he's paid $10 million, and then every time you remind yourself, you're like, Jesus Christ, that's a lot of money.
I've disliked Bobrovsky for one stupid reason and one stupid reason only.
Go on.
So, as you all know, you know me, and you've listened to this podcast long enough. I'm a big hockey cards guy.
I thought you were gonna admit to being just an all-time classic hater.
I am a hater. That's 100%. I will not deny it. I'm not
a
Florida. I have no reason to play Florida.
By the way, youtube.com/collectors lobby.
So one time I was watching some random guy's YouTube channel, and he's talking about like cards you should collect, cards you should buy, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's talking about Bobrovsky cards. And every time he said Bobrovsky, he said it in a very annoying way. Bobrovsky, like he would yell it into the mic really loud.
And that's why you hate Sergei Bobrovsky? It's not even something he did?
Nothing he did. Jesus. That guy wants to say Bobrovsky like 10 times in a row. I cut the YouTube off. Like, this guy is so goddamn annoying. And for that reason, I've held a small grudge against Bobrovsky for having that name, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing.
That's how petty I am, by the way, guys. Like,
yeah. So I
will hate you for things you don't even do.
But yeah, like it was a good game by Florida. I think the biggest takeaway is just how different both of these guys' previous opponents are. Tampa Bay a lot more structured. Boston comes at you in waves. A lot of high-end talent. Florida likes to play very open. They're very offensive forward. They want to score. Their defense isn't the greatest, but if they have possession, you don't really got to worry about your defense too much.
That's not a style that's going to get you to the finals, but in my opinion, that style I think is going to cause Toronto problems.
Yeah.
Toronto is a team historically that gets rattled. They get rattled.
They do, but I do think there is something to not being in a familiar territory for them in terms of round wise. It'll be interesting to see how they come out in game 2. Just looking at the advanced numbers, Miguel, I
guarantee you game 2 they win like 6-2.
Look, when it comes to expected goals percentage, it just tells me who. Usually I use it as like who's been in like decent positions of scoring a goal.
Yeah.
Their best player was William Nylander and Matthew Nyes. Matthew Nyes has only played like 10 games in the NHL since coming over from Minnesota. Matthews, kind of middling. Marner at like 30%. Like, those guys need to play better, and they will. I think they'll figure it out. Tavares is very middling also. I think your big four are going to be there and be fine. It's just about adjustments, like how much do you trust Paul Maurice versus Sheldon Keefe at that point. And if the Stars can be the Stars, I like the Stars better on Dallas mostly, but the Stars on Toronto's side for them to carry. But
I will say this too. Nylander had a rough game.
He did, but offensively good. But like, who cares if you're making those kind of mistakes on your own end?
Yeah.
But I still think this goes far. I think when we first saw this matchup happen after the Panthers beat Boston, I think you're like, oh, look at this upset, perfect for Toronto. I don't know about that. They're playing hot, and if you're talented enough to beat the best team in the regular season, you're talented enough to beat anybody. And at that point, it's about consistency, and Toronto's got a lot of pressure on them.
Either way, I'm gonna say Toronto in 6.
I'll probably say 7. I think it goes 7. Because I feel like now that they've gotten over their round 1 hump, what's a better hump to get over than that Game 7 hump?
I'll say this: how entertaining is Matthew Tkachuk?
Very, and by the way,
he's a player. If you're playing against him, he's the fucking worst scum of the earth. But when your team's not playing against him, that dude is fun to watch. He's funny and he's good.
As a card holder of the Matthew Tkachuk hate club, now that he's not in the Pacific anymore, and I only see him like twice, I'm okay with enjoying Matthew Tkachuk now, and he's fun. He does, and he sticks out so much. Like he
plays a style similar to those annoying goonish players in the league.
And he throws his body around.
That your Ryan Reed, your Wayne Simmons, like he plays
heavy. He plays heavy
style, but the difference is he's also really freaking good. Unlike nothing against those other players, but like Matthew Tkachuk can put up points and goals, and get underneath your skin, and throw his body around, and beat you up.
Yeah, man, there's no better example than that Game 7 winner against Boston in overtime. He threw his hit. He was one of the ones who was able to keep position for Florida, and then he does that. He gets it, and what does Matthew Tkachuk do? He immediately goes in front of the goal and screens him. He might be low key underrated, and that trade. I think as time goes by, that Matthew Tkachuk trade from Calgary might be one that we're going to be looking back as a big miss by the Calgary Flames. But also
for Matthew Tkachuk is that Florida's future doesn't look great, in my opinion. But
I mean, they're in the second round, Miguel.
Yeah, but I guess
I don't know how much. What's better? At what point do you say it's pretty good? If they make it past this round?
This feels very much like Montreal, like.
But they're better. They're much better. This team won the President's Trophy last year.
We can move on to the next one.
Go ahead, guide me to the sweet state of North Carolina.
The new kids on the block, Seattle Kraken.
Oh, I thought we're sticking to the East.
You're right. So I lied. In the next series, the Carolina Hurricanes versus the New Jersey Devils, the young kids,
Nailed it. I'm not editing that, by the way. We're living with that.
People know me. They love me. Which they're currently, as we're recording, Carolina is up 3-1 in Game 1.
Surprising.
This was interesting. This was going to be... It's two teams that is not overly star power. These are two teams that pretty much...
I don't know about that. I mean, we got Jack Hughes.
I'm not saying they don't have star power, but they're not your Toronto Leafs, your Oilers, where they rely heavy on like 2-3 players. They do have 2-3 great players, but these are two teams that pretty much roll 4 lines. It's scoring depth throughout the lines. It's not just Sebastian Aho getting every goal. It's not just Jack Hughes, Heischer getting all the goals. You know what I mean?
Okay, I agree with that because as we saw in the Game 7 clincher, like who was the star of that show? It was the guy they brought over for Tampa, Andre Palat, to set out Michael McLeod in front. And that was basically the dagger for them in that 4-0 Game 7 win over the Rangers. Like, there is a lot of good depth in the Devils.
These are two teams that play very good team hockey, both offensively and defensively.
Yeah.
And both teams that play with a lot of speed.
Yeah, but I'm worried about the offensive capabilities of Carolina.
I mean, could you imagine if they had Svechnikov and Pacioretty?
Oh, and Teravainen.
I think Carolina would be the favorites to win the cup if they had all those players, but they don't.
No.
And they're not going to have them no matter how deep they go.
No, but their defense is still pretty sick. Like Brent Burns is a trade that's paid off for them in tenfolds. They have a young guy in Seth Jarvis. Stefan Nosen has kind of risen his game up with Aho. And they have Jordan Stahl, who's really good defensively. Really good defensively. And he was a big problem for the Islanders in round one. So you have someone you can put into those more defensive situations for you with Jordan Stahl. But it'll be interesting. I think it all comes down to goaltending. Like, who do you believe more in? Frederick Anderson and or Antti Ranta or Akira Schmid and Vitek Vanacek? Because I do think at some point you will see the other goalie in this, whether it's a blowout or just a team looking to do a switch, because both teams haven't been really shy about going to another goalie if the situation needs it,
Yeah.
But, man, shout out to the New Jersey Devils, though. They're so good, and they're so young also, so worst comes to worst, this is just house money for them at this point, and we already know about Carolina. Like, Miguel, do you think there's any pressure on Carolina to finally make it to the final? Because, fun fact, Miguel, they're the only team in the past 5 years who have won a round each of the last 5 years.
So that's the thing with Carolina, is that's the team no one really thinks about, no one really talks about. So I feel like that's not a team where if Carolina were to have lost in round one, I don't think people would have been talking about, oh my God, what an upset. And that's aside from the fact of Boston being the biggest upset. It's just no one, and I don't mean this to be disrespectful, but no one really cares about Carolina. They should.
I think it's still disrespectful regardless.
They're good. They're a fun team. And who doesn't like the storm surge? Mm-hmm. But no one pays attention to them. So if they were to lose, I don't think they have pressure on them. Not from the outside looking in. I'm sure within the fan base there is pressure because every fan base wants to win. And this is a team that has been good for the last few years, who has a solid team, whose window is wide open. And as far as we can see, it's not closing anytime soon. But still, while the window's open, you want to fucking get through it. You know what I mean?
And they've had bad luck.
They have had bad luck, including this year.
like one of their playoff runs in the past 5 years was Svechnikov getting knocked out by Alex Ovechkin, and then him not being available for the rest of that series. You lose Fetch, you lose Teravainen in round one. Like I'm curious to see if the injuries are enough to be like, all right, well, if we can get through, if we can advance, cool. But if not, there's nothing we can do. This is the position we're in. But I do think even with everyone kind of, I don't want to say counting them out, but like not having lofty expectations of the Carolina Hurricanes, they still have a lot of depth. And I think at the end of the day, it comes out to goaltending. Like if their goaltending holds up, I think their defense is good enough to play defense and score with guys like Shea, Slavin, to then counteract their offensive, defensive counterparts like Gostisbehere and Burns. Like, they're a pretty well-balanced team, but like I said in round one, how much scoring can they actually get? And Sebastian Aho has done a great job of doing that, but they've won a lot of low-scoring games in round one. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, it could be interesting. I'm still going with, again, my choices are not changing despite the scores. I still think Devils win it, and I think they win it in 7.
Well, considering I got both of the series in round one wrong. Actually, no, Carolina was correct for me, but so I have to make a switch. Man, I'm going to see the Devils get it done. I think they get it done in 7. I think it'll be a long series. I think Carolina's good enough to hang it with them, and I wouldn't be surprised if it comes Game 7 overtime. We get someone off a fluky goal to advance. So we'll see. Miguel, now would you like to go to Seattle and Dallas?
Now, the new kids on the block. Seattle Kraken in their first ever playoff run. They have made it to the second round. They are playing against the very powerful Dallas Stars. but have taken Game 1 5-4 in overtime, despite Joe Pavelski, Captain America himself, scoring 4 goals in one game. But it was not enough because no one else on Dallas decided to show up.
It's funny how that works out. I did like Pete DeBoer's comment after the game. That's basically that the rest of the team let him down. We wasted a good performance by him, and that's what they did. Basically,
When
you
you're old as Pavelski, you're not gonna have that kind of performance every night.
39 this month. He turns 39 this month, which is insane. But Jake Ottinger, shaky start, would you say? I mean,
yeah, which is crazy because coming out of round 1, everyone was saying either what's his name, Akira
Schmid
and Ottinger were the 2 goalies everyone. It was either one of those two. Was when he asked everyone who was the best goalie round 1, it was either Schmid or Ottinger, and nobody else.
Yeah. I'm not. It's hard because it's only game 1. It happens. I think the thing to take out of it with Seattle is they get scoring from everybody. They had 15 different goal scorers in round 1, I believe. Insane. So it was a total team effort to beat the Colorado Avalanche, the defending Stanley Cup champion Colorado Avalanche in 7. Regardless of what you want to say about Colorado's current situation with injuries, with the weird stuff about Vlad Nichushkin.
Nichushkin, yeah.
The weird situation with him, and we don't really know much information outside of the few reporting that we have. Seattle still had to play team hockey to beat them, and Grubauer stood on his head in Game 7. He probably stole that game for them. And you're seeing it again. Like Grubauer, it's nice to see Grubauer figure it out. So I still think Dallas is the favorite, even with them dropping Game 1, just because of that top line presence. But man, the team contributions, much like year 1 in Vegas, Miguel, if you remember that, it was just a team effort. They got random goals from everybody.
That's exactly what Seattle's doing right now. It's literally the exact same. Almost exact same copy and paste of Vegas year 1. It's a team effort. It's they're playing with a lot of speed. They're catching people on the counter, and that's how Seattle's winning. And they're also getting good goaltending, like Vegas got in year 1 from Fleury.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you keep going. They're not going to win anymore, and they continue to win until they get to the final.
I could totally see Seattle going all the way to the finals, possibly even winning it, because, again, they're doing the same formula Vegas did in year 1, and look how far it got Vegas. It got them pretty freaking far. You know what I mean?
3 wins away.
3 wins away from the cup. Yeah.
What was it? One Holtby paddle save away from going up 2-0.
Oh my God. Vegas goes up 2-0. That series is a wrap. That series is a wrap. It doesn't matter.
But they've been, Seattle's been impressive. I think we're still we're gonna be victims of our own guessing, being like, I don't think they'll be able to do it, and yet this series will go far.
But man, Seattle, a lot of fun to watch play.
They are. Roll 4 lines, transition offense, shot suppression. Their shot suppression is really good. They didn't really have a great defensive outing Game 1, but
it's not the cleanest, most perfect hockey, but man, it is fun to watch.
Yeah. So I'm expecting a big thing. Who do you think comes out of this one, Miguel?
I'm still taking Dallas in 6.
Yeah, I'll agree. Same thing for me. So, Miguel, do you want to transition from daytime to nighttime?
In your next series, you're right. We're taking it to nighttime. Great transition, by the way.
Thank you.
Your Vegas Golden Knights versus the powerhouse McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers. In reality, it's more Draisaitl's team this time around.
Absolutely.
I see a lot of people, and I would agree with them. Maybe not, but I've seen a lot of people online on Twitter, like these analysts, everyone's talking. This is the number 1 series to watch in the second round.
Yeah,
because it's 2 freaking good teams, 2 powerhouses.
It's McDavid versus Eichel, 1 versus 2.
Which is such a weird, like, I get it, but like they've already started that what's it called? That angle on like when I was talking when the previews of the series from NHL.com, like it's Eichel versus McDavid, and I get it because they went 1 and 2, but like neither has been the best player for either team.
No, but I think as we saw, in round 1, like sometimes things don't carry over. I think it's a whole new different matchup here. The Kings were, no offense, I think the Kings were better defensively in terms of what they're trying to do. Not more neutral zone trap, a lot of having the game come to them. I think Vegas is going to be a little bit more open with that because they have the ability up on forward to do that with Mark Stone, with Jack Eichel. William Karlsson has kind of revived himself all of a sudden. Marchessault is always dangerous. The fourth line is going to be a big thing, especially if Edmonton sticks with 11-7, because we have seen Janmark start to practice again. So we'll see if he joins the rotation again and go back to 12-6. It'll be a different game. I think it'll be a completely different game. It's just the depth of Vegas, I think, is a little bit better than what LA had, especially with the veteran presence that they have. But we'll see if the Bruce Cassidy system, how that matches up against having to put up with McDavid and Draisaitl both on different lines and then both together.
It's so. The biggest key, I think, to this series is, like you said, you brought it up, Bruce Cassidy and whoever the Edmonton's coach is. I don't know his name.
Jay Woodcroft.
Jay Woodcroft. I think this series comes down to who can adjust better. Because both teams are going to get a nice, good hit in on each other. And it's all about which team, which coach can come up with a better game plan the following night, the following game. That's one thing I've noticed with Bruce Cassidy, the short time he's been with Vegas, is this man, when something is not working, he addresses it quickly. It doesn't always work, but it works a lot of times. You watch the Jet series, game 1 versus game 2, it literally was night and day of how Vegas played that game.
Night and day. Good job, Miguel.
Literally, yes. Day to night. It was day to night how Vegas played that game because Bruce Cassidy adjusted. He changed up the game plan because it felt like in game 1, Vegas was a bit more conservative, a bit more like, okay, let's kind of wait and see what happens. And it didn't work. Where game 2 through 5, they were more pressing forward, more smarter with their passes, with their plays, with their shots. And so it'll be interesting where with Edmonton, again, for both teams, when one gets punched in the mouth, how will they adjust? How will they change the game plan? Because I feel like I could be wrong, and this might bite me in the butt, but Edmonton feels like a team, because you got Draisaitl, because you got McDavid, you lose, I feel like they're going to be like, same game plan. We're going to send it out again next. It has to work. It's worked all season.
That's not what happened in round 1. They did a good job readjusting. That's where game 3 was a key thing. Even though the Kings won game 3, Jay Woodcroft did the adjustments that they needed to. They went to 11-7. They try to exploit that bottom 6, and once again, I think 5-on-5 for both teams in round 1, I think was pretty even. The difference maker was that power play penalty kill situation where LA had a fine PK. It still ended up bottom 10 in the league, but that was just because of dog shit earlier in the season was. And they had the 4th best power play in the NHL. They were able to expose that, but you can't beat the Oilers when they go 9 for 15, Nick Miguel. 9
Ridiculous,
for fucking 15.
Over 50% off.
And I don't know if it's a lack of adjustments or if they're just that good. Again, this is the best power play that we've ever seen since I started recording things. It'll be, I think where Vegas matches up well. I think 5-on-5. I think you and I both know if this starts becoming a power play battle, which it might in the first 3 games,
Because
because studies have shown the further a series goes along, the less penalties we get. So if we get a ton and by a ton I mean like 3 or 4.
Yeah, of course.
It'll be a different situation. Like, can Vegas kind of hold them off? Even if you hold them off to fucking God knows what. To their average, which is still 35%. Can you then take advantage of that? Because another thing with the power play is the momentum swings. I think a lot of the times when Vegas plays well, they're the ones dictating the momentum of how the game is going. The Oilers controlled the momentum in round 1 against the Kings, so it'll be interesting to see if they can do that again with just possession and entries and all that stuff.
The power plays is, to me, at the end of the day, it's what's going to make or break Vegas. And it's not even about stopping the power play because, look, Vegas was like 20-something on power and penalty kill and power play. They're very low. They're terrible. There's no adjustment they can make that's going to make that power play and that penalty kill amazing. It's too late. It's too late. There's nothing they can do to make it amazing. What you got to do is what you've been doing all year, is be the least penalized team. Because there's no switch to the power play, to the penalty kill. It's not Vegas' power penalty kill. It's not going to become from 28 to number 2, number 1 in this series. It's just not. As much as I would love that, it's not. Like, power plays, penalty kills, game plan, that's not something on the flip of the switch you can become great. You know what I mean? You got to work at it. You got to have better plans because it's something you have to work out throughout the year, plays. So I'm not delusional. I'm not going to say Vegas, they're going to become great power penalty kills. They're not. They're terrible. They're going to get scored on. It's about keeping going what you've been doing all year. If they were the least penalized team all year, and continue that, if not become better at it, take less stupid. Just don't take stupid penalties. White Cloud, do not shoot this puck over the glass.
And the last key that I have for you, Miguel, as someone who was victimized by the Edmonton Oilers, is that you have to, and for some reason, this is the only team you do that for. McDavid or Draisaitl is going to score. So in your head, you already have to make the count of like, this game has to be 4-2 us, 5-3 us. Will a game end at 3-1 for one of these teams? Yeah, probably. But knowing that McDavid and Draisaitl are good enough to get a point at any point of this series, off any play, 5-on-5, PK, shorthanded, this team is a threat at all times as long as those two are out. And in addition, this is the only team that I pay attention to who comes off the dots. Because last line change is so damn important against the Oilers.
Yeah, it is.
Last line change is so important, and Vegas has an by the way, Vegas being terrible at home is kind of surprising this year. Because that usually was a strength for them. So
we were the opposite. We were impossible to be at home because Vegas flew, and it's true. Many players have said it, but we've been an absolute unit on the road this year.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. I think.
So
Miguel, I'm going with my heart here, and because I'm a petty man.
Yes.
I'm rooting for you, which is, I hate it. I want both of you to lose, but if I have to choose, it's Vegas in 6.
Thank you.
But I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy about it.
Before I make my prediction, just one more point, and I'll keep it short. While power play is Edmonton's bread and butter, their key to success to win this series, and it's a damn good one. The key to success for Vegas, and you can call me crazy, and it's going to blow in my face, but it's exposing Jeff Skinner.
Yeah, he wasn't that great. In any of the games that we played, I never felt like Skinner stole the game.
No, never.
I mean, I will say that the resiliency of the Oilers was something that I kind of would applaud them. I was talking to our boy Nation Dan over at OilersNation.com about the series, and the thing that I kind of felt like, he's like, Game 4 was such a demoralizing thing for the Kings that I feel like it affected their confidence. I'm like, no, it didn't, because if you saw the rest of the games, like, yeah, they got beat by pretty handily in Game 5, but they came back from a deficit in that Game 2. They were only down by 1. Yeah, you like a couple things change. Who knows what the score is? But once you score off the power play off someone's face, that's a wrap. And in Game 6, they arguably played their best game. Like, they always kept at it. The thing that stood up for me is the depth of the Oilers also stepped up after that as well. And if you have the depth of the Oilers stepping up along with Draisaitl and McDavid, who we already know can perform in the playoffs, that's where it gets tricky. It's basically like almost like basketball game. You can let one player have 40 points, but if someone off the bench comes and gives them 15 to 20, you're fucked.
You're fucked, yeah.
And that's basically what's going to come down to. Like, can Vegas continue their depth? Can guys like Kolesar, who scored for Vegas in Game 5, can guys like that step up?
Michael Mario with the game winner in overtime.
In what was that, Game 3 after blowing a lead?
Yeah.
And the Oilers had the exact same thing. They had Costin, who scored a game winner in Game 2. They had the guys who scored the game winner in the clinching Game 6, was Kailer Yamamoto. So it'll be interesting to see exactly where the depth lies. Because again, like I said, I think you can pencil in McDavid and Draisaitl for 2 goals in any combination of assist or goal for them. It'll be interesting to see what the rest of them do.
So that's my thing. Key to this for Vegas: expose Jeff Skinner, because Vegas made Hellebuck look like a below-average goalie in that series.
Also helped that no one in Winnipeg wanted to help.
That is true too.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, where Vegas historically struggled against good goalies,
we can accept that they quit on him. They quit that last game.
No, I know, but even before that, they solved Hellebuck. Either way, so I can see this. Call me crazy. Call me crazy, Eric.
You're crazy? You want me to actually do it?
I think my prediction is Vegas in 7. But I could easily see either team sweeping this. And I know you don't get sweeps usually in past the first round. You do get them occasionally, but you don't get them that often. I could see either Vegas or Oilers. I could see either of them sweeping this series. It's because it's just.
I think you're correct. I think it could end in 4, 5, 6, or 7. I think you could make a scenario where it happens.
Where I don't see sweeps in any of the other series, I can see a sweep in this series. Either way, for me or against me, I can see a sweep because, Vegas and Oilers are very much momentum teams. Because when shit is going good, it continues going good, and when shit starts rolling, especially for Vegas, I can't speak too much on Oilers. When stuff starts going bad, man, does become a freaking a rolling ball down a hill. You know what I mean?
The Oilers are resilient. I think they showed that. I mean, I think for any other team, the Skinner snap stick, shorthanded goal by Philip Deneau breaks a team and they lose Game 6. But they're resilient.
One final concern for Vegas is Mark Stone's health, because on Monday's practice, he left practice early, hunched over. And as a big, tall man, overweight tall man who has back problems, he moved exactly like I move when my fucking back craps out on me. Very stiff, hunched over, a bit of a limp. I've seen that walk. I've done that walk. So maybe it's just something minor. He is playing tonight, but that is concerning because if you watch that video, it's clearly his back.
Yeah,
I have no doubt about it.
Yeah, we'll see where health lies, Miguel. With that, we'll see how the rest.
Mark Stone, Vegas has no chance. But.
We'll see how the rest of round 2 shakes up. Miguel, why don't you tell our lovely people can find lovely you on the internet?
They can find me at Miguel Kicks all over the internet. You can find me on YouTube, Collectors Lobby on YouTube. Eric, where can the people find you?
You can find me hate watching this fucking Edmonton Vegas series. At underscore Erick Oriana. It's underscore ERICKORELLANA. Miguel, send us home.
For all you wonderful people that are listening, still watching till the end, thank you so much. We appreciate each and every single one of you, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Peace.
Goodbye.